Assalamu alaikum, dear students. How are you all? Well, I welcome you all to this biology class for grade 8. We are going to start the remaining part of our chapter 1, that is Introduction to Biology. This is your teacher, Miss Aisha Khan from SLS Montessori and High School. Well, let's start with our lecture that is on open your books to page number 10. Now, in this lecture, you'll be able to learn about the cellular organizations and the concepts of unicellular, colonial, and multicellular organisms. Then, we'll study about two of the multicellular organisms, that is frog and mustard plant. And also, we'll study about the anatomy and the morphology of these organisms. Let's start with our topic, that is cellular organization. Dear students, as you all know that all the organisms have been divided into 5 major kingdoms according to the classification system. That is Kingdom Monera, Kingdom Protista, Kingdom Fungi, Kingdom Plantae, and Kingdom Animalia. So, in these kingdoms, the living organisms are divided according to their characteristic features, and you know that all living organisms are made up of cells, and there are two basic types of cells, as we have already studied in our previous topic of that was the cell level. What are those two types of cells? Yes, who will tell me? Alright, good. Yes, prokaryotic cells and the eukaryotic cells. So, the organisms in the first kingdom, that is Kingdom Monera, are all made up of prokaryotic cells. And what are those organisms? Yes, bacteria. They are only the organisms which possess a prokaryotic cell. While all other groups, that is Kingdom Fungi, Kingdom Plantae, Kingdom Animalia, and Kingdom Protista, all the organisms in these kingdoms are made up of eukaryotic cells. They possess a eukaryotic cell with a proper nucleus inside and the membrane bonded organelles. So, dear students, the cells organize themselves in 3 different ways to make the bodies of the organisms. Cells make different types of organizations, which are first of all unicellular organization, then colonial organization, and the multicellular organization. And the organisms formed through these organizations are called unicellular organisms, colonial organisms, and multicellular organisms respectively. So, first of all, let's start with the unicellular organization. In unicellular organization, the organisms are made up of only a single cell, and that only one cell makes the life of an organism. All the activities of the organism are carried out by that single cell. The examples of unicellular organisms are amoeba, paramecium, and euglena. Very common examples, and all these organisms are known as unicellular organisms, and they belong to Kingdom Protista, and mostly these organisms are found in fresh waters. So this was all about the unicellular organization. Uni means one, so unicellular organisms which are made up of only a single cell. Alright, let's move to our next type of organization, cellular organization, that is colonial organization. Now, in colonial type of organization, many unicellular organisms live together to form the colonies. And you know, there is no division of labor among the organisms living in a colony. What is meant by this? Yes, it means that each unicellular organism in a colony lives its own life and does not depend on other cells for performing their different activities. So, example of the colonial organization or the colonial type of organisms is Volvox. Volvox is a green alga found in the fresh waters and hundreds of these volvox, they live together to make a colony, as you can see in the picture also. So there are many of the volvox cells which are living together forming a colony. So this is the example of the colonial organization. Next type of organization is the multicellular organization. In multicellular organization, the cells are organized or they are assembled together to form the tissues, organs and organ systems. The examples of the multicellular organisms are all the animals, plants, fungi, and yes, these three kingdoms: kingdom fungi, kingdom animalia, and kingdom plantae. These include the organisms which are all multicellular organisms and are made up of eukaryotic cells. So examples of multicellular organisms that we are going to study in this topic are frog and the mustard plant. Mustard plant belongs to the kingdom plantae, means plant kingdom, and the frog belongs to the animal kingdom. So let's study about the mustard plant, its features and its body. So mustard plant, the scientific name of mustard plant is Brassica campestris. You have to learn the spellings and you have to write it properly and correctly. Brassica campestris. Brassica is the genus name and campestris is the species name. We will study all about this naming of the organisms, how to give scientific names and how to write the scientific names in the coming chapters of this book. So Brassica campestris is the scientific name of the mustard plant. And if we study the mustard plant body, the plant body of the mustard is divided into two parts: the vegetative parts and the reproductive parts. Vegetative parts include the leaves, branches and roots. And why they are called vegetative parts? Because these parts are not involved in the reproduction of the plant, whereas the reproductive parts include the flowers and seeds. And the flowers are the reproductive organs of this mustard plant and produces the seeds. The seeds produced by the mustard plant are used to extract the mustard oil, and whereas the vegetative parts of the plant are used as food by the animals as well as the human beings. So this was all about the mustard plant. The next multicellular organism that we are going to study is the frog. The scientific name of the frog is Rana tigrina. Rana is the genus name and tigrina is the species name. So Rana tigrina. Rana tigrina belongs to the animal kingdom, and to which class, students? Yes, you must know about it. The class of the frog is it a mammal or a bird? No. Yes, it belongs to class Amphibia. So amphibians are those animals which live in the water as well as on the land. So frog or the Rana tigrina belongs to the animal kingdom and the class Amphibia. So on page number 12, you have to just give a reading to this topic: the unicellular, multicellular and colonial type of organizations, as well as the mustard plant. And there's a picture of mustard plant also on page number 13. And let's move to the next page, that is page number 14, on which we are going to study or learn about the anatomy and the morphology of the frog. There is a practical work given on this page, and you just have to give a good reading, a thorough reading to this page, so as to learn about the organ systems and organs of the frog. So the practical work is about the identification of organs and organ systems in a dissected frog. As you know, frog is a multicellular organism, and we can study its anatomy by dissecting it in a lab. So if a frog belongs to the background information, frog belongs to the class Amphibia of the animal kingdom. It possesses a multicellular organization consisting of tissues, organs and organ systems. Now if we study the morphology of the frog, on the outside of the frog's head are present two external nostrils. Nostrils are used for breathing in air and giving out the exhaled air. And there are two tympani, or the eardrums, which are related to the hearing process, and two eyes are present on the head of the frog, each of which has three lids. As in humans there are two lids, the third lid is present but it is non-functional. But in frog, reptiles and some birds also, this third lid, that is nictitating membrane, is functional. And what is the function of this nictitating membrane? It is transparent membrane, and it helps to protect the eyes from the dust and also helps to keep the eyes moistened during the vision. Okay, then let's study about the anatomy of the frog. And how we will study the anatomy of the frog? By dissecting the frog. All right, and when we will dissect the frog in the lab, we would be able to learn, or we would be able to identify the internal organs of the frog and the organ systems. So first organ system that we are going to learn is the digestive system, which consists of the organs of the digestive tract. And what are the organs of the digestive tract? We have already done in our previous topic and also in your previous class. Who will tell me? Okay, yes, oral cavity, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, liver and pancreas. These are the organs, the major organs of the digestive system of the frog. And digestive glands are the liver and pancreas, and some gastric glands which are found in the stomach. Then respiratory system of the frog consists of the nostrils, the external nostrils present on the head, and which leads to the larynx, and the larynx opens into the two lungs. Then the circulatory system consists of the heart, blood vessels and blood. The urinary system of the frog consists of the kidneys, ureters, bladder and the cloaca. Cloaca is the external opening and it's the common passage through which the waste of the digestive tract, the urinary system, the digestive system and the reproductive system are excreted out. Then the organs of the male reproductive system are testes, sperm ducts and cloaca, and the female system, reproductive system, consists of ovaries, oviducts, uteri and cloaca. Now there are two uterus are present, two in number in the frog, in the female frog, whereas in humans, female humans, there is only a single uterus present. Okay, and cloaca is the external opening. Then the central nervous system of the frog consists of the brain, which is enclosed in the skull. Point to be noted here. This is important from your MCQ's point of view. Brain is enclosed in the skull and the spinal cord is enclosed in the backbone. Nerves branch out from the brain, which are known as the cranial nerves, and the spinal cord, the nerves also branch out from the spinal cord, known as the spinal nerves. The frog's skeletal and the muscular system consists of the framework of bones to which all the skeletal muscles of the body are attached, and these help in the movement of the organism. Now come to the next page, that is page number 15, on which there is a diagram also given to you showing the anatomy of the dissected frog. And there are some, on page number 16, there are some evaluation questions given to you as I have shown here on the slide. What may be the purpose of the nictitating membrane in frog? As I have just told you, yes, who will tell me? Yes, nictitating membrane is used, is present in the frog as a third lid, and it helps to protect the eyes from dust and keeps the eye moistened. On which side of the body did you see the kidneys? Dorsal or ventral, students? What do you think? Where are your kidneys present? On your ventral side or your dorsal side, the back side? Yes, on the back side. That is where your backbone is present. So dorsal side. Okay. So which part is the common passage in the digestive, excretory and reproductive systems? Yes, as I have told you before also, cloaca. What was the sex of the dissected frog? How you would come to know? Yes, by studying the anatomy, by looking at the anatomy of the frog. How you will be able, how you would be able to differentiate between male and female frogs? Yes, you're right. By looking at the reproductive organs, if it is a male, then it must, the frog must have have which organs? The reproductive organs? Yes, testes, sperm ducts, and cloaca is present in both. And then if the frog is female, it must possess which reproductive organs? The ovaries, oviducts and uteri. Okay, so this is how we would be able to differentiate between the male and female frog by looking at their anatomy. Okay, and by looking at its morphology. How you would be able to know about the male and female frog? There is a criteria. A female frog is a bit bulky and larger in size as compared to the male frog, which is a bit smaller than the female frog. Okay, so this was all about the practical work and the question given at the end of this work. Now next on page number 17 there are MCQs given to you and you have to solve these MCQs. I have also solved them for you, but first of all try to solve these questions or statements by yourself, and if not then you can refer your book also and you can see this slide also. Okay, answers are given here. Now on page number 18 there are some questions given in understanding the concepts. So question number 1 is arrange these structures in order of lower level of organization to upper level and write the level against each structure. So in your notebooks what you will do, you will write this question and now you have to write these structures in arranged form. Starting from the lower level. Lower level of organization is the subatomic level. So is there any subatomic particle present here? Yes, electron. You will write first of all the electron, and in front of the electron you will just make a column, write the structures on one side and write the level of organization on the other side. Okay, so so you will first write the electron. In front of it you will write this, it belongs to subatomic level. Then after the subatomic level, the subatomic particles combine to form atoms. Is there any atom present here? Yes, carbon. So you will write the carbon, and in front of that carbon you will write its level, that is atomic level. Then atoms combine to form the molecules. So protein is a molecule present here. So number 3 will be the protein, and in front of it you will write the molecular level. Then next after protein, now molecules combine or biomolecules combine to form the organelles. So what organelle is given here? Yes, number 4, mitochondria, and in front of it you will write the level, that is organelle level. Then organelles combine to form cells. So any cell is given here? Yes, neuron. Very good. So number 5 will be the neuron, and in front of it you will write cell level. Then neuron will form the mass of neurons, the tissue, nervous tissue. So mass of neuron will be number 6. In front of it you will write tissue level. Then mass of neurons or tissues form the organs, the brain. Yes, number 7, brain. In front of it you will write the organ level. Brain forms the nervous system. So nervous system will be number 8, and you will write in front of it the organ system level. And then organ systems combine to form the individuals, the man. Number 9 will be man, and in front of it you will write its level, that is individual level. So this is how you have to solve this first question in your notebooks. Number 2 is how would you define biology and relate it with its major divisions. On page number 2 the definition of biology is given, and we have already discussed it in detail, and the 3 major divisions of biology along with the zoology, botany and microbiology, along with the definitions and examples you have to write in front of them in your copies. Number 3 is draw a table showing the branches of biology and the studies these deal with. So draw a table, and in that table just give the heading branches, and in the next column give the heading it deals with the study of. Okay, then write all the branches, all the 17 branches that we have discussed so far, and in front of those branches write down the deal with the study of what, and examples also are important to give, and give at just one example for each branch. That is enough. Okay, so this is how you have to solve question number 3. Number 4, give points to advocate that biology is linked with physics, chemistry, mathematics, geography and economics. So on page number 4, these relationship of biology to other sciences is given. You have to write all these relationships of biology to these branches of science, and the figure 1.1 you have to draw it along with the answer of this question in your notebooks, and it's a very important question. Okay, how would you distinguish the biomolecules from other molecules? Definitely biomolecules are those molecules present inside or found inside the living bodies, and the molecules are the molecules which are found in nature and are a part of the compound, smallest part of the compound. So biomolecules are those which form the body of the living organisms. What is the criterion for classifying biomolecule as micro or macromolecule? We classify the biomolecules as micro or macromolecule on the basis of their molecular weight and the size. Next, question number 6, and give the examples also, okay, of micro and macro, and definition plus example. Number 6, describe the levels of organization of life. You have to describe all the levels of organization of life, starting from the subatomic level and atomic level till biosphere level. Okay, is there any division of labor among the cells of a colony? What do you think? We have already discussed it. No, there is no division of labor among the cells of a colony. They live independently of each other and carrying out their own life activities. So if you find division of labor among the cells and tissues, what level of cellular organization is it? Yes, we find the division of labor among the cells and tissues. Cells and tissues are present where? In which level of cellular organization? Multicellular organisms. Yes, we find the division of labor among the cells and tissues in multicellular organisms, in which the cells and tissues perform their own specific function, and there is and that is an example of the division of labor among them. So that is it, all the 7 questions. Then come to the short questions. Define biotechnology, the branch we have already discussed with example. What do you mean by horticulture and how is it related to agriculture? Horticulture actually deals with the art of gardening, and agriculture deals with the food crops and animals, which are the source of food. So actually how they are related, the horticulture and agriculture are related in the sense that in both of these professions, the professionals actually work for the betterment of the existing as well as how to grow the new and good quality of these plants. Okay, in one, horticulture, the ornamental plants are grown. In agriculture, the food crops are grown. So betterment of these organisms is done in both of these professions. Okay, so that's it for these questions or the review exercise given at the end of this chapter. And apart from these questions given in your book, I have made some additional short questions for you. I'm just giving you these questions and you have to write the answers, or you have to find the answers yourself. It's just an evaluation that how much you have understood the topic, and you can refer your book and you have to find the answers yourself. Okay, this very short assignment has been given to you. You have to do it in your biology notebooks. Okay, write all the definitions wherever required with the examples, and if differentiate questions like differentiate between biochemistry and biogeography has been asked, so you have to make a column and give the differences, 3 differences. First, relationship, second, definition, and third, example. Similarly, differentiate between micromolecules and macromolecules. Again same, make a column. First, micro means what, macro means what, then definition, what is a micromolecule, what is macromolecule, you can give the size and the molecular weight, and then third, example. Okay, species and habitat we have discussed already. With the example you have to give the definitions. Complex and simple communities, again we have discussed in detail, and you have to give the definitions. Here you have to compare, so you have to give the difference between simple and complex community. Okay, related to the size of population, the size of the number of the organisms, and the examples. Okay, so that's it from this chapter. I hope you must have understood it very well. I have tried my best to explain all the topics in detail, and thank you so much for listening me with the patience and with full attention, and hope you will go through the whole chapter and give a thorough reading to it. So see you after the vacations. Stay home, stay safe. Thank you, and Allah Hafiz.